I'm really excited to share this section with you because I've heard so much great feedback about it from patients, and it's been a huge catalyst for personal growth in my own life. So there's 3 parts that are included into one monthly calendar set: the upcoming month planning, the actual calendar spread, and the end of the month reflection. You can actually take one set, which is 2 pages, and move it around in the planner to better fit your planner preferences. They're all undated, so you can start using CanPlan at any time throughout the calendar year. We'll start with the upcoming month planning page, where you write the month and then think of a theme for the month. The theme is intended to set your foundation for the month, which then directs your steps towards where you want to go. So for example, I want my theme for this month to be deeper connections, which means I will commit to spending less screen time and more face-to-face time. So the theme should be something you could easily remind yourself of that influences your behaviors and strives to break through the negative habits that are keeping you from living life to the fullest. You then list your monthly goals, which should be a bit more broad but still realistic. These should act as foundational goals in which you determine what daily task would move you a step closer to reaching these goals. You can either use these gray circles as completion indicators, or you could break the priority down even further and give each goal a priority number, similar to the daily tracker. So the next section will ask you to think deeply about a fear that's consistently manifesting in your life and preventing you from healing. When you get to the root of all emotions, it really boils down to love and fear, which is essentially the lack of love. All negative emotions can be traced back to a fear of something. So for example, depression is the fear of the past, while anxiety is the fear of the future. Similarly, stress, anger, jealousy are all fear-based emotions. So ask yourself what your greatest fear is, and be patient as your brain filters through the surface level responses in order to get to the core issue. Perhaps it's a fear of rejection, which has made you avoidant of asking your doctor certain questions or reaching out to your community for help. This fear has always pushed you to be self-sufficient, and so relying on others is uncomfortable for you. Whatever it may be for you, reflect on your life with grace and see which fear is driving your life. Again, since fear is just the lack of love, once you've pinpointed the fear you want to tackle for the month, figure out what areas you're going to pour more love into. So if it's a fear of rejection, an area that needs more love is self-confidence. Start by asking yourself, what are some practical ways you could practice self-confidence? Perhaps it's a 5-minute daily meditation on redefining rejection and viewing it as redirection. That's all part of the journey. Perhaps it's seeking out podcasts or books to help you detach your self-worth from a negative response. These are just some examples to help you get in the groove of utilizing CanPlan to its fullest potential. And I understand how deep all of these concepts are, which is why there's a dream board for you to really dig past the surface and get to the root of what's preventing you from living a full life each month. The next page is the actual monthly calendar where all your scheduling and planning will go. The gray box in the upper left-hand corner is where you'll write the days of the month, and any event correlated with that day will go in the white space. At the bottom of each calendar, you'll see a scale numbered from 1 to 5. This is your end of the day reflection score. So at the end of each day, give yourself an accurate rating of how the day went overall, with 1 being, it was absolutely horrible, to 5 being, I couldn't have asked for a better day. Color coding will always help to make information easier to absorb visually. I use green for high scores, yellow for medium scores, and red for low scores, so that at the end of each month, you get a bird's eye view of how your overall month went. You'll then begin to find any patterns or trends that'll help you understand what's leading to a good or bad day. For example, I started to notice that on the days I have appointments, my score is significantly lower. So I know on those days I need a pick-me-up, where I'll schedule a massage or a walk on the beach with some friends. Identifying your triggers will help you to plan and prep for them so that you're not just reacting to situations, but carefully responding to them. Of course, there's no way you can account for every incident since life is unpredictable. So learning what things you can control and surrendering the rest is the key here. On the far right side of the calendar, you'll see a tracker, and you can use this section however you please. If you want to track your symptoms, you can write them out in the gray box and then add a check mark on the days you experience that symptom. This will make it easy to show your doctor when a symptom has started and when it stopped to see if it's correlated to any other symptoms. Again, color coding will always make it easier for you to visually understand the information. I personally use this section for habit tracking, where I write the habits I'd like to adopt at the top and then check off the days I carry out the habit. But this tracker is really for you to use however you see fit. Now let's flip the page to go over the end of the month review. At the end of each month, you're going to tally up your end of the day reflection scores and write them in the left-hand boxes. So look back to your calendar and count how many days you scored a 5 out of 5, and then write that number in the first box. Then find out how many days you scored a 4 out of 5 and then write that in the box below. And do that for each of the numbers. Since 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5 are generally good scores, you can add those two scores together and write the sum in the box on the right. Then do the same thing for the 2 out of 5 and 1 out of 5 scores. You'll begin to gauge what a good or bad month looks like for you depending on your scores. So for me, a good month looks like absolutely no 1 out of 5 scores and majority 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5 scores. In the box on the far right, you'll be asked to write down any trends, patterns you found as to what led to a high or low score. So the more information you put about your days on the calendar, the more clear this will become for you. The section below is just to see how you're doing in specific areas that encompasses your overall health. So it's really just a checkpoint for your emotional, mental, and physical health. We've grouped emotional health and mental health so the mental health score prompt encompasses both. You would simply add all of your scores together and write the sum in the blank. You'd then do the same for the physical health score. This session is really just a prompt for you to stop and ask yourself how you're doing in these areas and if there's something you could do to address the things that you're scoring low in. Again, if there's any creative tweaks you've made to how you're using your CanPlan, please share it with us in our exclusive Facebook group. The goal for the community is to collaboratively come up with effective solutions to win this war against cancer. Your voice and your ideas matter, and this is a space for you to share them. So thank you so much for dedicating the time to learning how to use CanPlan in depth. You are loved and you have so much power within you that's waiting to be unleashed. And we're so excited to see the healing and unleashing CanPlan will bring to your journey. Again, if you have any other questions along the way, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear from you.